That was every second of a rivalry game. Georgia's Nate Frazier scored on a two-point conversion in the eighth overtime on Friday, and the Bulldogs downed Georgia Tech 44-42. And yes, eight overtime was college football, not college basketball. Georgia, the seventh ranked team in the country, trailed at halftime 17-0 and never led until overtime. That was every second of a rivalry game. Georgia's Nate Frazier scored on a two-point conversion in the eighth overtime on Friday, and the Bulldogs downed Georgia Tech 44-42. And yes, eight overtime was college football, not college basketball. Georgia, the seventh ranked team in the country, trailed at halftime 17-0 and never led until overtime. They got a really good football team, Georgia coach Kirby Smart said. How many times did we do that? 9? 8? It was awesome. We stopped them some. We didn't stop them some. It was a great game. A lot of respect. In the sixth overtime, Georgia sacked Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King after Georgia coach Kirby Smart called a timeout to see what formation the Yellow Jackets had lined up in. Arian Smith appeared to have the game in his hands on the sixth overtime, but teammate Dylan Bell tipped the pass before it got to his dog teammate, and he wasn't able to reel it in. In the seventh overtime, a Georgia run attempt for the two-point conversion was stopped. Georgia Tech was about to go for the two-point conversion, but Smart called a timeout again after the Yellow Jackets had set up in formation. Georgia Tech came out in a different formation, sort of a picket fence setup. The pass was incomplete, but Georgia was called for pass interference. The Yellow Jackets had the ball at the 1, and King was absolutely stuffed by C.J. Allen. In overtime 8, Georgia Tech's pass was incomplete out of the back of the end zone. The overtime record is 9 when Illinois defeated Penn State. Georgia and Georgia Tech each scored in the first overtime to move the score to 34-34. They each scored in the second overtime, but both schools failed on two-point conversion.